I mean, there's just one question that you have to ask before talking about this one. Are you my mummy? Alright, the obvious and cheesy intro is out of the way. Let's talk about what I have gone on record as saying was my favorite Ninth Doctor episode. Well, episodes, story. It's a two-parter, which means we are talking about The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. I've really been looking forward to this one. I'm really enjoying going back and rewatching these and seeing them with slightly fresher eyes. This one was the one that I was pretty sure I was gonna have the least new to say about. I mean, like, these are overdue reviews, so I haven't done a review specifically about this story before, but I've talked about it before. And there really isn't much more to say because this is one that I have rewatched repeatedly. A number of the things that I've covered as I've started going through these things again are things that I haven't rewatched in a long time, or in a couple of cases, I don't think I ever watched them a second time at all. So it's been interesting, but here's like, this is just gonna be nice to watch. And I do love the synchronicity that the date that this happens to land on, because these are coming out on Wednesdays, happens to be Halloween. I think if I'm going to have a Doctor Who review come out on Halloween, it is very fitting that it is this one. So, where do we even begin? Now, I've said actually fairly recently that I generally don't care for Doctor Who's historically set episodes. And watching this one again, it occurs to me I should clarify that. What I don't care for is the Doctor Who historical episodes that center around a known historical figure. When it's just set in the past and doing its own Doctor Who thing, that doesn't bother me. So, like, I don't have an inherent problem of that nature with, say, Fires of Pompeii. And I definitely don't have it with this. So while ghost stories with Charles Dickens or werewolves with Queen Victoria aren't exactly my jam, when Doctor Who feels like dropping me down in the middle of the London Blitz for creepy gas mask monster children and a suave time-traveling conman, yeah, I'm kind of all over that. And, oh boy. This story is so good. I mean, it's so good on so many levels. It is a cool story. It's a cool idea. It's a neat setting. It's got the introduction of a great new character. It has a creepy antagonist, and so it's got some of the best just dialogue and little bits and moments and snippets. Bananas are good. You know, forgive me when I try and do the accent. I know I suck at it, but look, I love all this stuff that is going on here. It's all just phenomenal. And Rose is great in this. I love Rose sort of experiencing a little bit of, not necessarily fatigue with the Doctor, but being like, I mean, I'm liking this, but I wish it was kind of different. Then meeting Jack and being like, oh, well, hello. And of course, Jack, Captain Jack Harkness, you dog. It's funny going back and seeing him this young. First of all, I say that, I'm pretty sure he was within a year of my age right now when he was in this. Oh boy. So in any case, like, he's great. He's awesome. And in just the suave and the easygoing nature. And even when he's pushed against the wall and has to own up to being a con man, just his annoyance at everything going on. I was like, look, this was supposed to be just an in and out. Just I get what I want and I go away job. Why is this dragging on? And yeah, the frustration could have come off as bratty, but it doesn't here. He legitimately doesn't feel like he caused this problem, so he doesn't feel he should have to deal with it. However, he does own up and take responsibility once it is revealed to him, oh no, this is in fact your fault. So I like that. It feels, I mean, especially with what we see later from him, it feels very proper to the character that when he is able to tell himself, not my fault, not my problem, yeah, he kind of want to ducks out, but once he knows that it isn't, no, he will step up, and power to him for it. And Eccleston is just great. Eccleston gets to do so many things in here. He gets to be light and, just sort of approachable, especially when he's talking with the kids, like around that dinner table. I love that. I love that entire dynamic that he has. I love how easygoing he is with these kids. I love the sense of empathy that he has when trying to figure out how to deal with the empty child. Like, he's getting the warning from Nancy, don't let him touch you. That's not a child. But he's going, this is a kid outside not being let in for food. What's going on? His empathy really comes to the surface in this, which I think is good, because it also, you never lose that sense of damage with Eccleston's doctor specifically. So I'm loving all of that, and it also has one of my single favorite moments in Doctor Who of all time, but I will get to that. We will get there. So, oh man, like I could just list everything that's going on here. The nighttime during the Blitz is really a terrific horror spooky kind of setting, because the nature of the situation already has so much uncertainty about it, and to inject this child into it, and that gas mask, oh man, that just works. And the thing for me, what is especially terrifying about this thing, is that it never loses, it is simultaneously retains that sense of innocence, but you never for a second think that it is anything other than deeply dangerous. And there's something about that mix, especially for me, because this probably, I think I felt this at the time, but it hits me harder now that I have a kid. When kids are around that age, because I think Jamie's probably about 4-ish, and especially at that age, like, kids don't have a fully developed sense of morality, of right and wrong. They know what they've been told is right, they know what they've been told is wrong, but they're still and they're far enough along to sort of know they know what they want, but they don't always recognize the problem with getting what they want. So when you imbue a child at that mental level, looking for its mother, with the kind of power this thing has, what you have is, as the doctor says, there is no little boy on the planet who wouldn't tear the world apart to save his mother, and this one can. That's what's scary about this thing for me on a conceptual level. It's that it has the power to destroy the world in its search for its mother, and because it has the mind of a small child, it does not understand or recognize the damage that it's causing versus the good that it might feasibly do if it succeeds. It doesn't care. It just wants its mother. And just knowing how kids can be, that's like, it's legitimately scary. And besides just the inherent creep factor of a small child with a gas mask going, "Are you my mummy? Mummy?" And that always works. And then the whole thing with being able to talk through various things, through the radio, through the typewriter, which is ridiculous, and I know that it is, but I don't care, because it's an awesome reveal on that moment. Like, it works. It just works. And Rose, like, I'm coming back to her again. So, like, I like her. I love her dynamic with Jack, but also I like what it kind of brings out. See, I don't read what's going on between her and the Doctor here as flirtatious. I see it almost more as teasing. The way, someone might tease like a slightly older, like an older cousin. Or someone like an aunt or an uncle who's, within 10, 15 years of your age. So that sort of jabbing and ribbing on the notion of, well, has the Doctor ever danced? But at the same time, there's enough of it that I can see where once the Doctor becomes Tennant, you can build that into a more flirtatious relationship. But I don't feel that it got there in this episode, which I'm good with, because I don't like the Doctor flirting with the companions. But I feel like here it thread the needle of touching on those nerves without, at least not to me, feeling like she was ever coming on to him, which I just appreciate. And think the other thing with Jack is a number of people, when I've talked about sexuality displays in Doctor Who before, have brought up the Doctor and Jack, and I don't get a direct flirtatious thing. I think the line everyone gets on is that Jack gets on the TARDIS, and Rose has this moment of, I think Jack wants to cut in because she was legitimately dancing, but we know what the metaphor is in this, with the Doctor, and the Doctor goes, I'm sure he does, Rose, but who with? I don't think that's him flirting with Jack. I think that's him teasing Rose that she can't be that sure that that Jack was flirting with her. Again, I don't read that as the Doctor actively flirting, but you know what? It's probably interpretable, so if people have read it that way, okay. I still don't. But yeah, no, I love this. So before I get to my absolute favorite thing about this episode, I think it's worth acknowledging. Is this a perfect episode? No, there are a couple of little tiny, and they are tiny, these are nitpicks, but this is me also, very much trying to be as objective as possible. And in these rewatches, I want to really closely examine the things that I like to be sure that I understand why I like them, and to pick up any issues that I may have missed before. And with things that I haven't liked, try and find the good in them that maybe I couldn't see before. How well am I succeeding? I don't know, you tell me. But there's basically only two things. And one of them actually did bug me a little, even on first viewing, but it bugs me more now. The other one really only bothers me on the rewatch, but I still think it's a little much. So the first thing is that there's really no point to the mislead about Dr. Constantine, because Nancy tells Eccleston, you need to go see the doctor. And there's this whole, and it's played up mystery, like he's going to go and meet himself. But the fact that he's just going to see a doctor, a normal doctor, there's truly no point to that even hint of a mislead. So I don't really know why the episode does that. Thankfully, it doesn't spend a lot of time building that up. He gets to that location fairly quickly and meets Dr. Constantine. We move on. So it doesn't drag things down or build too many expectations that it can't deliver. I just don't know why that happens, at all. And the other thing is, I do think that the empty child, especially towards the end, is basically speaks too much. And I say that and you're like, what are you talking about? Practically all he ever says is, are you my money? That's kind of my point. He says that a few too many times, especially in close succession. And again, that one didn't bother me so much on initial viewing, but on a rewatch, once the creep factor has kind of eased off a little bit, because I know what I'm dealing with, I am going I think they've got him saying that 2 or 3 times too many, in the stretch of a minute. So I don't know, that's nitpicky, but let's I need to talk about my favorite moment of this, and one of my favorite moments in Doctor Who. Everybody lives. But the thing is, it's about the build up to that moment. It is not just the Doctor going, everybody lives. What makes this moment amazing is the lead up, is the Doctor having basically told everyone around him, we can't win, we're doomed. And maybe in the back of his head he had a vague hope that Nancy connecting with this child would do what it ends up doing. But you get that sense of from him when it starts happening. He wasn't expecting this to go well. He may have been hopeful, but there's a sense of desperation where he's sort of pleading, come on, figure it out. And then he goes up to the child, to Jamie, and he just pauses before taking the mask off, and he goes, oh, please give me a day like this. Give me this one. And the pleading in his voice of needing this to work so badly, that is what makes his elation at everybody lives truly soar. I think it's a good moment regardless, but with that build-up, it is solid gold. It is amazing, and I love it. And honestly, it chokes me up when he is pleading, in those moments before he takes the mask off and he is so desperate. It chokes me up. I'm more so than the Everybody Lives moment, which is still a great moment. It's a great capper on that, but he plays the weight of all the times that not everybody lived, or maybe he was the only one who lived, all culminating and trying so hard to claw out of that. He plays all of that in that moment so brilliantly. God, I love it. And then he gets to ride it for a little bit longer, getting back onto the TARDIS, ask me anything. I'm on fire! Oh, God, it's good. I really love this two-parter. One of my favorite stories of Doctor Who, period. I mean, I'll be certain once I finish series 1, but I think I can still safely say my favorite Eccleston story. And what are your thoughts on The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do because there's buttons and there's links down there. Check them out if you feel like it. If you don't sweat it. Because you know what? At the end of the day, folks, you are the council. And I just run the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.